We have the beautiful, lovely, smart, wonderful Stacy Rosen with us today. I'm so excited about this session. Stacy and her team at Signet Jewelers were some of the earliest adopters of VividCharts in-platform reporting. With her background as a project and program manager, Stacy quickly became the ServiceNow reporting subject matter expert for her organization and now trains all new and existing employees on their standardized reporting systems. Like I said, super excited about this session. I'm so glad we have Stacy with us today. Stacy, I'm going to hand it over to you, okay?
Oh, thanks, Ashley. I feel like we're in a good, we're at a news desk today. No, I'm really excited to talk about how we use our VividCharts tool. And I'm just gonna, I'm gonna run through the slides, but I'm gonna talk to each of them. But I just want to kind of give you a feeling like you're in my living room and I'm explaining to you our experience and kind of how we leverage the tool today, how we came about leveraging this tool, and then answer any questions you have. But I'm just going to get started. So what I was going to talk about today is just kind of, Ashley gave me a really complimentary introduction, like I was a celebrity. And so that makes me feel really good. And then we'll kind of go through some of the problems we faced with status reporting and adoption and things like that in ServiceNow across our project management teams and portfolios, and then what the solution was and what VividCharts was able to help us realize and achieve, and to kind of talk about some of the ways that we've been leveraging some of the new features with the data engagement platform and building customized templates, which has helped us expand on the use case that we started a couple of years ago with VividCharts. And then we'll answer any questions you might have. So I'm going to get started. So she gave me a nice introduction. That's a nice picture. I probably got up and showered that day. So thank you very much. So right now I am running the project management office for Signet. I've been doing that now for about 3 years. I started as IT project manager within Signet. I still do that. I still help on projects, but primarily what I do is help to govern projects in ServiceNow and help our portfolios, right? So at any given time, we have about 15 different portfolios running. Also at any given time, we have 80 to 100 projects. Just 85 of those right now are in IT, to give you an example. We also have our digital or our e-commerce group that leverages ServiceNow to track their time. So they could have anywhere from 20 to 50 projects at any time in there as well. And what I do is I help provide guidance for them on how to report their time, their financials, how to set up their project plans and milestones and all those fun things in ServiceNow. So that means that I also act as a SME for PPM and SPM, right? So I help people, I record demos and training sessions. So I did that with the VividCharts tool for folks to understand how to use the status portal at the time. And then any enhancements we have to the tool, we added resource management, which it talks about down there. And that was a little over a year ago. That was probably the biggest optimization we've done. And it was quite extensive. And so we have entered the baby crawl phase of utilizing resource management. So our folks are going in and entering their resources and trying to extrapolate some data that way to see how we're leveraging resources and how we're running our projects today and how we can utilize them better and make decisions. So really, how did we get here? So we started using ServiceNow before my time. So it was about 3 or 4 years ago, right before I joined Signet, they implemented ServiceNow and implemented it company-wide to where a lot of our IT projects and digital projects are being run out of ServiceNow. However, what we found was our executives would say, hey, we know you guys are using ServiceNow. Why aren't we using the status reporting feature within ServiceNow? Why do we get status reports in many different formats? So there were some teams that were creating PowerPoint slides. There were some teams that might be putting together a spreadsheet or a Word document, but going into ServiceNow, because ServiceNow is Signet's system of record, right? So people are expected to go in and manage their projects, put their project plans in, update status reports, and at the time this meant the out-of-the-box feature within ServiceNow. So people found when we started asking, there's limitations there. I can't visualize it well. I can't put it in a PDF. I can't put it into a PowerPoint. My stakeholders want to see this in a certain way. They want to see high-level project health. And the out of the box feature within ServiceNow could sometimes be a little wordy or cumbersome, and it was hard for them to get it into another format. So they were not only spending time going into the project and entering their status report to stay compliant, but they were also putting it in a different format every week to report. So they'd be reporting to their VP, their portfolio owner. From there, they may be reporting to a business partner or, their team. And so we just found it was taking up a lot of time. And then it started to really affect compliance, right? And affect adoption to where people were pulling away from ServiceNow. So what we decided to do was, okay, let's talk to folks. Let's figure out what they're doing today. Show us what you're doing. Let's look at all the different portfolios we have. You send me what you do every week. I want to see what your efforts are. And they did that. If you could have a status report that looked a certain way, a one page, if you will, project health, what would you want it to look like? What kind of information would you want to see? What does your leadership want to see? And so also we talked to not only PMs to figure out what kind of work are you doing, what are you being asked to provide. We talked to portfolio owners, and we talked to our leadership team, our IT leadership. And we started to kind of flesh out what they would really want to see in a high level, once a week, if you will, status reporting from a portfolio. And we brought in our portfolio directors, right? And sat with them and showed them a mock-up that we worked on with VividCharts based on what they had given us. So we looked at all their examples. We looked at what they would like to see on a one page. And then Ksenia and myself, who ran the project, worked on a mock-up together of what they'd like to see. And this is back a couple of years ago, before VividCharts was on their new platform, right? So we were able to create this template together and then demonstrate to our senior leadership how the status portal worked. So we were showing them a new visualization of a status report that had a one sheet of what the project is, what the health is, what percent complete is, so they could see in one place, where are my milestones, what are my risks and issues. So we were giving them a RIDAC log and things like that. And we worked with our leadership and then also showed them the status portal, which enabled someone to actually go and present from the portal. So we weren't necessarily saying, let's create a PowerPoint. We were engaging people in utilizing the portal so that they could flip through their portfolios slides very easily, right? Or project statuses very easily, and create their own project sets in a unique way. So we also conducted how we helped people understand how to use the tool was we conducted a training session. And how we did that was we really looked at, for folks, what's in it for me? Well, it's going to save you time, right? And it's going to give you a more powerful way to get your information. You can actually create your own custom project sets, your own custom views. You can communicate those out to your team. You can send a link. You can download those into a PDF, etc. And it also gives you a way to view key milestones and RIDAC log items that pertain to your project within a portfolio. So we showed them what it was and how to use it. And then it gave us the opportunity to do some refreshers with our team. And so they understood how to use the RIDAC log. Some people had never entered a risk or issue or action or decision in ServiceNow, and that's our system of record. So it also gave them, we created some demos and recorded some demos. It gave them access to self-teach. So we arranged as a PMO all of those training calls. We recorded those demos. And we offered some office hours for people to come and ask questions and sit with them real time and share screens and really demo for them how to use the tool. As a PMO at Signet, we leverage SharePoint and Teams pretty heavily. So we have all of our information and training out on Teams, and folks can go in and access, watch a recorded demo, follow along with me who gave the demo, and also have access to materials. So it really helps them to self-service. And I really feel like that's a very critical step in how we train folks here at Signet, to prevent maybe getting a lot of questions or being stopped in the day, but also to give people the power to self-teach when they're available to. And we have folks in different time zones all over the country. We have a lot of remote workers. So it's really given us the power for people to self-serve with their training. So this is just kind of an example of the presentation we gave when we rolled out the status portal. So we gave folks a little bit of a background first. We told them, okay, quite often in our organization, when we roll out something new, people go, okay, I want to know why. Why are you rolling out something new? What's in it for me? Why are we doing this? How do we do it? What's expected of me? So we really tried to drive home some of these points, for consistency, just so everyone's using the same consistent template, if you will. So many folks in leadership said, I'm getting statuses, but they all look different. They're all different. I'm looking at this portfolio status reports and they're different from this one. Now everybody's across the board reporting on the same data points. And then just to be efficient, we had folks spending hours working on status reports, especially if you're managing several projects. It's just a pain in the drain, so to speak. So it made it a lot easier for folks, right? You go right to the portal. You can create a custom set. You can you can search by project manager. You can search by portfolio. So we really tried to show them how they could access the data a lot easier. So that's where we talk about, you can view your project status. You can present it live within ServiceNow. We weren't doing that before. We weren't pulling up the out of the box and presenting it live. And then we gave them a 101, right? What's changed? What hasn't changed from soup to nuts? How do you go in and navigate to it? How do you create your own sets? And how do you download it into a PDF format or a PowerPoint slide? Because you can still do those things. And then again, what we did was we captured what the status portal looks like today. So that's what it looks like on the far right there, what the portal looked like in the middle. So you can show people how to navigate to past and present statuses. So if you're giving it to a VP in a group, they can go and you can create a set and they can go in and look at that and you can share that with them. So those slides there kind of give people pretty clear instructions on how to navigate to the portal and create sets for themselves and also display their projects in a set. So what was the reception like? So here we are today. It's about 2 years later, I want to say, give or take. So initially, it definitely saved us some hours, right? People received this very well. We had some groups that were like, this saves us so much time. I gave my portfolio status in 15 minutes. Whereas before they might be spending an hour to 2 hours on a call, depending on how many projects rolled up under that portfolio. For us in the PMO, it definitely helped to improve user experience, right? Because the whole goal of our PMO at Signet, we're not a centralized PMO. We're unique. We're a decentralized PMO. So we're not force feeding you, but we're trying to consistently improve based on your feedback. We're trying to give you tools that are going to help you manage your projects better and hopefully drive the quality of the data that's coming out of those projects. So we really want to drive people to, yes, this is a system of record, and yes, you can get the things you need out of it without having to create these other documents. And then for the executives, it gave them a consistent format to view the status reports in, and also a way to self-service. And then, it also helps to drive presenting the value of what we're doing in IT. So often IT is not the glamorous part of the company, right? We don't tend to get the accolades. We're kind of behind the business. The business is driving the need. We're doing the work, and then that's it. Well, this is another way for our CIO, right, to present to senior leadership how our projects are doing, right? And so that it gave us a dynamic way to do that we just really didn't have at the time. What's going on today, right? When we adopted this 3 years ago, it was the project status portal. Today, if you all have seen demonstrations that Rob has given and worked in the data engagement platform, which is now VividCharts' new platform, you'll see that you have a lot more ability to customize. So today I can work with stakeholders and say, hey, okay, you've used the status portal. What would you like to customize maybe per your own portfolio, or what are your business partners looking for? Because we started to hear from people after they started using the status portal that, hey, my business partner might want to see, certain data points. So we could actually customize now templates for individual portfolios. So that's the exciting part of what we're foraying into, because we have recognized that our portfolios really want to see overall portfolio health. They might want to present things to the business that might be different as to what they present to an IT executive. So that's the exciting part of what VividCharts is now offering. And I think that, we've already started creating some custom templates and really talking to people about what they want to see. So that's how we're trying to evolve. We're trying to move away from PowerPoint slides, if you will. It's hard to do, but to be able to be in an executive leadership meeting and pull up a dashboard that you built, or that gives you data points that's visual, that's powerful, and in one stop, rather than clicking through slides or following links. I think that's going to be really powerful for us. And we've already started creating those things. And that's how we're evolving the tool today. So I'll stop there. And I see a question from Cheryl. So she was asking, in creating your templates, did you find that you had to go back and make changes or standardize or use ServiceNow so the data was consistent? If so, how long did that effort take? So yes. So also some of that is driven by leadership, right? So at one time, and this is a very good question, after we created the status portal template, our leadership said, well, you know what? We don't have this today, but we really want to add a field called quality and benefits, because our IT group has consistently been looking for a value realization, if you will, or a benefits realization, which oftentimes is hard to pinpoint, because a lot of companies, obviously, especially when you're in IT, that's a business, right, responsibility. Like, they are going to see and be able to express what the benefits of a project are going to be, so that they can then get funding and things like that. So, but our IT really wanted to try to drive towards some value realization. Excuse me. So we did add a field called benefits and quality, and that was based on feedback. So we really tried to adapt and continuously improve the things that we display on our status portal.
Yeah, thanks, Stacy. Guys, keep dropping your questions in the box here. I've got one for you, Stacy.
Yeah.
Did you have any, or what would you say were your biggest obstacles to internal adoption of specifically the VividCharts reporting workflow, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so it's interesting, because I think when I work on something, I have these big eyes and these rose-colored glasses on, right? And I think Rob and I had this conversation, and I was so appreciative of it, because he obviously talks to a lot of people in the same, position as me. And it's like that golden ticket, the adoption, right? You can create something so amazing, and you can get all the feedback and talk to stakeholders and build this great tool based on the requirements people give you. And then they're all gung-ho at first, and then it starts to wane, and then they fall back into old habits. And we see that happen. And I think the key to helping people to adopt something and engaged is really listening and talking to them and touching point on them. Like, I went and looked at who's using it, who's taken who hasn't entered a status report in a long time. What are they doing? And so I really talked to Bill, said, you're not in trouble, but I really want to know. And at the beginning of the year, I did that. I kind of did like a health check on a lot of things, on resource management, on status reporting. I did a whole list, and I met with each portfolio. And I said, okay, truth be told, are you using this? If yes, great. What things are so helpful to you? What feedback have you been given by your leadership? Things you'd like to see. I mean, obviously my data points are going to be with what's within ServiceNow, but because of the new platform, right, the new things that VividCharts has built in, I wanted people to know that you tell me what you want. I can tell you what we can offer, and we can start working together to create a template for you that'll work. So I think that's the exciting part. And I think as long as people know that you're listening, you're not trying to say you have to do this, right? We're decentralized in our situation. but let me help you get there. Let me help you get there so you're not creating multiple sheets again or falling back into old habits. And we've definitely seen that. It's hard not to take that to heart, but I think if you're on if you stand on the platform of, hey, I'm here to continuously improve something, because I feel like that's what VividCharts is trying to do, right? It's like they have to keep adapting and evolving with what ServiceNow is offering and with what the companies across the board are needing, right, to present. So I constantly check in and do health checks with my portfolios to make sure that, what they're using is helping them. And if it's not, why? Tell me why, and let's create a use case on this and figure out what we can do. And we have a couple of those, and those are things that, I want to help them to build something that's going to help them to report better, right? Because we can't drive good decisions if we don't have a good way to report our data. And so that's kind of a long-winded answer, but it's because we're living it right now that I'm so passionate about it, because that is happening. It's real. So he was asking who are our biggest champions internally in the effort to drive adoption and iteration, both with VividCharts, reports, and other ServiceNow functionality, timesheets. That's a great question. So we actually, like every other large organization, we just did a big reorganization, right, within IT, and we changed how we structure our groups, our portfolios, which was actually awesome because it removed a lot of silos. And we, in our group, got a new leader who is a big champion of PPM. He actually was part of implementing ServiceNow when it came on board. So he is a big champion of me and driving adoption and really driving visual reporting. He loves the visuals that I've been able to create. He is very on board with that, and he has leadership's ear. So having a leader, I think I'm lucky in that regard, that really listens to my opinion, guidance. I also have a boss who is doing the same, who really, I think my new boss said to me, it really drives me crazy when data isn't accurate. And I completely agree with that. And coming up with numbers out of spreadsheets. He wants to see real data out of ServiceNow, and him and I have worked together really closely to drive that kind of view for folks. So they're used to us going to a template within VividCharts or a dashboard rather than going to a slide. So those folks having really good partnerships with our leadership in IT has really helped me. They also are big champions of time reporting. They know what a gap that is. It is very hard to get people engaged, but also alternatively, the portfolio directors have been very supportive and have engaged their teams in taking training sessions from me, which I'll take any opportunity to share with people why we do things. We have jobs and we have the money to do those things because we're able to report on those things and how valuable time is for certain roles on certain projects. And same thing with, status reporting, right? Those things all drive decisions by our leadership. So I feel like we have such good support there, and we have the support to continuously evolve in that way. So that seems to me to be to have a really solid portfolio director on my group that helps run the PMO, and then to have a senior leader who is very passionate about tightening up our processes. That's been really helpful.
So look, just a couple of different plugs. If anybody on the call is interested in having a personalized demo with VividCharts, there are a million ways to find us, but we're obviously going to follow up after the event and make sure it's really clear how you can get in touch with us, how you could visit our live demo hub that we host in ServiceNow to see, additional report examples live. But we also just love getting on discovery calls and learning about specific use cases. It's how we get better. It's how our product gets better. So always happy and open to have those conversations. Also want to thank Stacy one more time. She's one of my absolute favorite people in the ServiceNow space. And I think that the information she shared with us about how Signet is managing their reporting program is really valuable. So I thank you for taking time out of your day and coming and hanging out with us, Stacy. To that point, you can find anybody's contact info and their LinkedIn's and all that good stuff in the actual event portal. So, all right. Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend.